Now, I know Burke has picked up on it. This thing of Howard seeming to have an inexplicable deep interest in RAQ and Kanan. You know, like, Jukebox, obviously, because she's close to the situation, knows what's going on. But none of these other people, aside from Burke, are like picking up on it. Like, why is this police officer always hovering around the Thomases? You know, and Kanan. It's like, I don't know. The second season, it kind of grew on me a little bit more because of the tension that it brought in the relationship between Kanan and RAQ. But in the first season, I honestly didn't really like the idea of it turning out that the whole storyline of Howard being Kanan's dad, and then this thing of him being sick and needing, what was it, like a kidney or a donation or whatever it was. I felt like that was doing too much. I'm glad that they got rid of the whole medical storyline in the second season, by the start of the second season. And it's kind of grown on me, I guess, this thing of Howard being Kanan's dad. But it still gives me pause because I find it a little bit unbelievable that Burke is the only police officer or only person, even within the neighborhood, that's picking up on just how much Howard is focused on RAQ and Kanan. And it'd be one thing if his focus was on RAQ, because RAQ is one of the two biggest players in the area, and especially with the collapse of Unique's organization, she is now the top player, so it would make sense for him to be focused on her. But you don't really see Howard like tailing RAQ, or really since the first season really communicating with RAQ like that. You see him like fixated more on Kanan. And I find it kind of surprising that no one in the neighborhood is like looking at this or asking questions about this. Why is this guy constantly dropping by their house or constantly taking it upon himself to seek out Kanan when there's no real reason for that, you know? Or there's no clear reason. I would think that in and of itself should make people ask questions, because he's like kind of out in the open with it. It's kind of messed up, you know, that like, when you think about it, like, this is fictional and set years in the past, but it's like Burke is actually the kind of police officer that you should want as a police officer, where it's like when there's another police officer that's doing wrong, that she attempts to call it out. She's actually trying to solve crime. She's passionate about what she's doing. She like follows the rules. She doesn't really give anyone a hard time. Now, granted, she crossed the line with Symphony, and I think some of her interactions with Kanan were like not okay. But for the most part, like, you can see, like, she's well-intentioned. And then it's like, Howard is like this dirty cop going back to way back when. But it's like, he's the one that's winning out right now, you know? And it's like, for you to put all of that effort and energy into this kind of stuff, and this is like the payback you get. It's like, you know, the risk of trying to be a whistleblower, I guess, you know? It's kind of messed up, though. At first, I didn't really like Burke because I felt she was like a busybody and prying into Howard's stuff and whatnot. But I feel like she's well-intentioned, and I kind of feel for her. You know, it's just that given the nature of the show and that, like, you know, you kind of root for RAQ and Kanan and the other characters, like, it's kind of set up for you to not like her and to root against her. But really, I still kind of like her because I don't like Howard. You know, and it's like, if there was a way for her to bring down Howard without, like, RAQ getting hurt, I would appreciate it. Because I didn't like Howard from the first season, and I still don't like him now. Like, I just can't stand him. I think he's a dirty cop. You know, like, they're criminals, yes, and that's not right. And it's like, as we can see, like, you know, they all pay for that. But it's like, Howard, I just don't dig him. I don't like him. You know, going back to early on in his career when he was like a grown man carrying on with RAQ and stuff like that. You know, she has this baby, and he pretty much, like, he admits it that he convinced himself or ignored the possibility that the kid could have been his. And then suddenly now he pops up and he wants to be like super dad. I just don't like the character. I don't like Howard. You know, but I think that speaks to, like, Omar Epps' acting abilities, because, like, I've hated this character from the very first season. Just can't stand him. And it's not because he's, like, badly written. It's like, he's just slimy. You know, he's gross. I just don't like him. But he makes the show interesting, you know?